Can Jimmy Butler get back to that player with the Golden State Warriors this playoff? Mind you, with Stephen Curry being out right now and the Warriors roster as constructed. Are they constructed for Jimmy Butler to have that type of effect? And if he does, James, where does that put them?
I don't think that they need that from him. And I don't know if he necessarily wants to do that. I think he will. But if he's doing that, that means something's not going right with their Steph-centric offense, in my opinion. Jimmy's putting up those numbers. It was on a Miami team that was centered around him and his playmaking and his ability to get to the line. Now, will they need that? Yeah, I think if you can get Jimmy around 20, 21, 22 points a game and everything else is similar, that's huge because you have Steph Curry, you have Draymond Green, and you have Kuminga's back, right? There's stuff that they pods. They have guys that can do a little bit more in comparison to it feels like the last few years. If you're the Warriors, do you want that? Sure, yeah. I think though, if you have those numbers, that means that maybe something's Steph's not playing, Steph's missing. I feel like it'd be tough for Jimmy to put up 27 a night with Steph playing, but I do think there's a level where Jimmy can get to in the 20s that is the perfect balance of him running the show himself with Steph sitting, or they stagger, obviously the staggers, and him picking his spots in between, kind of Steph running around everywhere and pick and rolls. I think there's a good balance there, and I think he's going to turn it on to that level when that happens. I think he's been one great professional. I love how, shout out to Raymond Ritter, our guy. You see Jimmy talking after every game in front of his locker. Ain't nothing crazy going on. He's not worried about scoring. He looks to really love his teammates and the situation he's in. And I think because of that, and I think his love and respect for Steph, I don't know Jimmy. You know Jimmy way better. I'd never met him. I could see him being one of those guys that because of his love and respect for Steph and what he does, and even Draymond to it, right? That he wants to win for himself, but I genuinely believe Jimmy's one of those guys I'm not going to be the reason this thing ends. I think that's a real thing with him.
I think the thing that people get about Jimmy, things that people get wrong about Jimmy, they think is Jimmy's about Jimmy. Nah, Jimmy just has his own set of principles,
and he's about his money.
Yeah. Oh,
you could be about your money and not, and that doesn't mean you're about yourself. Right. Especially on a basketball court.
Yeah. And Jimmy has quirks about him and things that clearly we've seen at different stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're playing with guys who have accomplished more than you, and I just literally just thought about this, he's never, save for the time that he was around Dwayne Wade, and okay, you could say Derrick Rose because Derrick Rose won an MVP.
Right.
But the way, and I covered that Bulls team, the 3 Alphas year, and it was crazy, but crazy in a real fun, competitive. Every day was man, who's going to do something crazy now? It was fun from a journalistic standpoint.
Yeah.
But watching Jimmy cede to leadership of Dwayne Wade, right? And sort of giving him the complete respect as the vet, as the OG.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't played with anything like that since. This guy's accomplished. He was really close to Pau Gasol. And when Pau was there, when I first got to Chicago, I could see the synergy those two had. Jimmy didn't have that in Philadelphia. There was nobody for him on the floor that said, you've accomplished more than me. Same thing with Minnesota, with Wiggins and Towns, a younger version of themselves. And then in Miami, there's just Bam, pretty much, and then Tyler Hero at different levels. Now he's at a spot where these guys are decorated, they're champions, they're Olympians. They've gotten to places that he wants to get to, still desperately wants to get to. And I think you want to make sure that you're, like you said, not only are you not the reason that this thing goes sideways, but you're not going to rock the boat in such a negative way that people can point you out.
Right.
And say, there's Jimmy doing what Jimmy does. No, he's by and large, he's going to be himself. He doesn't.
It feels like he's gotten in line for the first time, maybe since when I mean get in line is we always talk about the best teams understand the pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy feels like, just from observing and reading and watching his interviews and how he's even played, like he's third in line. And he's okay with that. Like, and I don't mean third in line like scoring, like obviously they need him more score. But in terms of like being able to walk in with the Vince McMahon walk, right? Like he is. There's two dogs on that team who have accomplished things that he will never be able to accomplish, and they are still very much in the process of trying to add to that. And he realizes that, and I think he's conducted himself. And again, his antics or whatever, like it's funny, like as somebody who doesn't have to cover it, like from an observer, it's funny. But like Jimmy never like struck me as like a teammate. I don't know. You might say
no. It's not. It's far more layered and nuanced and complicated than just saying, oh, he's or oh, he's a saint. But I do think that there is a general respect that you have for guys who have not only done it, but they put the work in. Jimmy respects work, and he knows that Draymond's a worker. He knows that Steph's a worker. He doesn't have to have any level of conversation with them about, hey, you're not bringing it as hard as I am bringing it. Like, that's the thing that annoys Jimmy. If you're not bringing it as hard as me, and I'm the max salary guy, you should be trying to get like me because you don't have what I have. Right. And I'm out here fighting like I don't have what I have. So why aren't you trying to get like me? Like that's the level. Now, I'll tell you this, and this is hot take alert. So put open the sirens, right? As of this moment, and granted, it is, what is this, March 24th. So we are likely to have so many more twists and turns. Like the Warriors are in the 6th spot, and they're 2 full games behind Memphis, who's on the 3-game losing streak. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if Denver and Golden State are in the 3-6 Mafia series, Denver's going home. And I think Denver's a better team. And I think Denver handled Golden State the last time they played them without Jokic on the floor, because that was Aaron Gordon hitting a whole bunch of threes. Jamal Murray didn't play.
That's right.
Playoff series, playing every other day, the attention to detail and everything else, I think it'd be different. And I could be wrong, but I feel like with the way that Denver has been playing, as a whole, barely a 500 team, Golden State has been surging since getting Jimmy Butler, 17-4, 17-5, whatever it is. Assuming that Steph is healthy. We got to assume that Steph is healthy. He's going to be on the first leg of that road trip where they're going to spend a lot of time in Miami because they have days off in between the game in Miami on Tuesday, and I think they play Friday in New Orleans, and I think it's like a 5-game road trip, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm sure he'll play at some point. But as long as Steph is reasonably healthy from that tailbone injury and fresh enough, they're going home. Nah.
Yeah.
Denver's going home.
Denver's going home. Yeah.
Denver's going home in that series. Like, I don't want the Golden State Lakers series in round 1. I don't need that in my life. No, I don't need the toxicity.
No, I want Warriors Nuggets. I want to watch Steph versus Jokic. I want to see, like,
that would do numbers. That would do numbers.
And to me, those are like the two, like in the West specifically, those are the two kind of like, obviously the Warriors have been the poster boy for almost a decade now. And to me, Denver has been like everything that's right about basketball.